towards Somalia, Uganda, and Kenya. And in the fall of last year, Somali pirates hijacked a British couple's yacht that was sailing towards Tanzania. And the ransom started out at $4.3 million, and they have been held captive now for more than 100 days. They are reportedly skeletal thin and suffering from bacterial infections. The British Foreign Office has chosen not to grant the ransom, and has left it up to the family to come up with the money to solve the solution. And this is the couple, Paul and Rachel. Paul and Rachel Chandler, sorry. Somalia is one of the poorest countries in the world. It has a gross domestic product per capita of $600 per year and an average annual income of less than $2 a day. Piracy pumps millions of dollars into the economy, causing fluctuating exchange rates. Money that is brought into land is unfairly distributed, causing no significant change to the infrastructure of the economy or the living conditions of the average Somali. Piracy further damages the Somali living conditions by blocking food aid shipments, of which 90% arrive by sea. Because of the success that pirates have had, it is escalated into a form of a stock exchange where investors are buying and selling shares in upcoming attacks. Yes. And according to Transparency International, Somalia was rated the highest country for corrupt business practices in 2009. And the situation in Somalia is similar to dictators and warlords whose primary interest is self-serving. If piracy is allowed to continue in Somalia, there will be no hope of establishing a solid democratic form of government, resulting in endless conflict and instability. Besides affecting the Somali people, there are 4 major international consequences if piracy is not solved. For one, the success of piracy in Somalia may be a catalyst for other unstable African countries who may turn to piracy. Secondly, as of 2008, pirates have begun to outspread their attacking range outside of the Gulf of Aden into the Indian Ocean. Third, in order to obtain more support and weapons, they may increase their connections with the ICU, and which could be linked to Al-Qaeda, possibly funding terrorism. And lastly, increased shipping costs, higher premiums, and security costs and extra fuel will find their way into the global trading market. And as you guys can see, piracy is not a beneficial solution for the Somali people, nor is it wise to allow piracy to continue when it has such great impact on the rest of the world. I would now like to turn it over to Tran, who will be talking about the ongoing solutions and some of the problems we have found with them. Thank you.
As Ashley had just proven to you how dangerous modern piracy can be, we must come together immediately for a worldwide and effective solution. So for the international issue with such excessive impact, we must mention first of all the role of the United Nations. In the last year alone, the Security Council had issued 3 resolutions concerning piracy in Somalia, more than for any other issues in the world. Many of the UN entities, big countries and organizations in the world also lead in the cause, including, of course, the United States, the European Union, the African Union, and even China has joined in recently. However, the results of these efforts are not as positive as expected, and as we shall see, it is such an urgent and complicated issue that despite our numerous actions, we're still baffled in making any progress. So, to better understand all the solutions that are taking place in and around Somalia, we suggest categorizing them into 2 separate groups. The first one is armed sea solutions, which include the deployment of naval forces to defend cargo and humanitarian ships and fight the pirates directly. The second one is on land solution, which include the aid and support for the TFG, the national government, to improve its governance and eventually have it sustain the country on its own. Both kinds of solutions are being carried out with different levels of effort and emphasis, involve many countries and organizations, and entangle in various factors of Somalia's political and economic situation. now analyze and evaluate the strengths and flaws of each of these solutions, address some of their shortcomings, and we'll move on to present our suggestions to improve these solutions, which we hope will open a discussion for all of us to participate in. First, about on-sea solutions. These solutions are usually short-term and temporary, calling for the use of force and violence, and will lead to direct confrontation or even battle with pirate ships. So we have here a list of all the organizations involved in solving the problem, but due to the time limit, I will only focus on the most prominent one. Currently, there are 3 international naval forces patrolling on the coast of Somalia and the Indian Ocean. The European Union Naval Force Operation Atalanta, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Operation Allied Protector, followed by Operation Ocean Shield, and the United States-led Combined Task Force 151. Besides, we also have the Interpol, International Criminal Police Organization, and some smaller-scale regional forces contributing to the process. And to exchange the information and coordinate the actions between these organizations, we have some contact groups, with the most active one being the contact group on piracy of the coast of Somalia, created by the US in 2008. So, apart from these reactive solutions, we also have some proactive solutions. Ships traveling through Gulf of Aden are advised to have proper flags, tags, and communication systems, so naval ships can recognize and rescue them in time. They are also advised to have security guards so that they can defend themselves in case they got attacked. For on-land solutions, we have 3 different areas that are in our concern. First is improving the politics and security situation in Somalia. Second is providing humanitarian aid for Somali people. And third is assisting the legal process to trial the pirate capture. In the first area, solutions developed mainly around the functioning of the African Union mission in Somalia. It is a joint effort between the United Nations and the African Union, established by the Security Council in January 2007, and has eliminated its missions ever since. Its main responsibilities is to improve the condition inside Somalia, resolve factional conflicts, facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid, train trade, police and security forces, assist and protect the government. In the second area, the United Nations Development Program and the United Nations Food Program are working hard to provide Somali people with food and medical aid for their daily needs. And in the third area, pirates captured on sea have to be taken back on land so that they can be prosecuted and sentenced properly. But due to the nation's flawed legal system, we cannot do that inside Somalia. So we have to take them to the neighboring countries in Africa like Kenya or Seychelles, with the help of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the contact group on piracy of the coast of Somalia. So it is not hard to see why some of these solutions are receiving a lot of criticism. As you can see, we have a very long list of organizations and forces involved in solving the problem, at the same time without effective communication or collaboration. That only result in more complication and less efficiency. It of course costs a lot of money to deploy joint naval forces over a long period of time.